Good afternoon. My name is Simone Tarver, and I'm the chair of the Districting Commission. I've lived here in Everett for 26 of my 30 years. I grew up in View Ridge, Madison, and now I live in the Bayside neighborhood. Thank you for joining us today for our Districting Committee community meeting. As you may or may not know, the journey to get to this point of having a draft districting map started long before this commission was formed. In the 2010s, grassroots efforts for more local representation led to a nonpartisan community coalition called Everett Districts Now, championing the fight for districting in Everett. This culminated in two propositions being put on the ballot in 2018 to determine how many districts there should be and how many city council seats should remain at large. The voters decided on the 5-district and 2 at-large seat configuration. In May 2019, after receiving 44 applications from 18 different neighborhoods in Everett, our city council and mayor each selected one commissioner, making sure to account for geographic diversity, meaning not selecting more than one person from a given neighborhood. Then in August, these original 8 commissioners selected the 9th commissioner, and in November, we hired Tony Fairfax as our districting master. Over the past year, our commission has worked tirelessly to establish the process for how we would create the districting map. We examined data on our city's population and demographics, and we discussed our experiences and thoughts based on our unique experiences as Everett residents. We are presenting you with the draft final map, version A8. We are here to listen to the feedback of the community and answer relevant questions you may have. After these community meetings, we will reconvene to discuss the feedback provided and decide if any adjustments need to be made to the draft final map. Thank you again for being here with us today. And so I'm going to turn it over to Nicole and City of Everett for a few brief comments.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Looks like we have a lot of people on the call, so I'm very excited about that. Please remember that each person providing comment today gets 3 minutes to speak. Please stay muted until you're recognized to speak, and that could be either by your first name, how you've logged into Teams, or by your phone number, depending on which way you're participating today. All of the comments will be tracked and put on the Everett website, summarized and put on the Everett website. And remember that you are allowed to provide as much written comment as you desire, although we are only allowing people to participate and provide verbal comment at one meeting. So with that, I'm going to hand over the microphone to Flora Diaz, who is our representative from the legal department.
Thank you, Nicole. I just have a few ground rules I'd ask everyone to please follow. No campaigning for candidates or initiatives. Please address your comments to the full commission. Please do not engage in personal attacks and use civil language. And please focus your comments on the proposed map A8, which is the purpose of our public meeting today. Thank you.
I never mute myself, and the one time I do. Thank you, Nicole and Flora. So now we're going to show a brief districting overview video.
And we'll ask all participants to please turn off their video and also mute themselves for this portion. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tony Fairfax, and I'm the districting master for the Everett, Washington Districting Commission. And I'm going to present to you the proposed final draft Plan A8. But first, I'd like to provide some background information and discuss how we developed the final draft plan. First, the city of Everett, Washington is moving from a voting system with 7 city council members elected at large to a system with 2 elected at large and 5 city council members elected within what's called single-member districts. In order to facilitate this process, the city created a 9-member districting commission. 8 members were selected by the city, and 1 member was selected by the commission. They also hired a districting master, and that's myself, to assist with developing the city's first districting plan. The commission members include Mary Foss, Vice Chair Chris Garai, James Langas, Elka McNeil, John Monroe, karikwas, Chair Simone Tarver, Benjamin Young, and Julius Wilson. The city also provided an executive project coordinator, Nicole Weber, who facilitates logistical matters and ensures that the commission has the necessary assets to complete the job. All of the plans that were developed, including the proposed final draft plan, followed laws, guidelines that extend from the U.S. Constitution in various court cases, federal legislation, the Washington State Constitution and codes, the Washington State's Voting Rights Act, and the City of Everett, Washington Districting Master and Commission directions and criteria. To summarize these guidelines, they include the district shall be as reasonably equal in population as possible. The district shall be reasonably compact. District shall consist of geographically contiguous areas. District boundaries shall coincide with the existing recognized natural boundaries and shall, to the extent possible, preserve existing communities of related and mutual interest to the extent feasible. Population data may not be used for the purpose of favoring or disfavoring any racial group or political party, and districts shall be drawn to follow existing voting precinct boundaries. Continuously throughout plan development, we also preserve communities of interest. We followed the results of a citywide study that found that 75% of the respondents selected existing neighborhoods as the primary community of interest to preserve. Therefore, neighborhoods were prioritized for preserving or not splitting. However, some neighborhoods were split by precincts, and precincts were used as the lowest building blocks. So in those instances, we had no choice but to split a neighborhood. The second ranked community of interest in the study was other. However, the third, fourth, and fifth ranked communities of interest were language, income groups, and housing types, respectively. Thus, language, income groups, and housing types, and other common socioeconomic attributes were reviewed and attempted to be preserved within districts. The Commission's plans generated followed a logical and methodical process to develop, beginning with establishing the district cores. The district cores act like seeds for each district. There are 5 district cores representing 5 districts. They include 1, Delta, 2, Lowell, 3, Boulevard Bluffs, Harvard View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison, 4, Casino Road within Westmont, and 5, Silver Lake. After the selection of the district cores, several preliminary plans were generated by myself and presented to the Commission. The Commission provided comments on the advantages and disadvantages of each plan, and that included the plans of A1, A2, A3, and B1. From those comments, I developed a new set of alternative plans, and they included plans A4, A5, A6, and B2. Another set of comments were provided by the commissioners on the second set of alternative plans. These comments were incorporated into a final alternative draft plan A7. Additional comments on plan A7 were obtained from the commissioners and integrated to produce plan A8, the proposed final draft plan. The proposed final draft plan A8 followed all of the redistricting criteria that I discussed before. It is equal in population within an acceptable deviation. It is reasonably compact. The districts are contiguous, excluding the Lake Chaplin area. The districts coincide with natural boundaries when reasonable to do so. Preserves communities of interest, specifically neighborhoods. It did not favor or disfavor any racial group or political party. And it minimized political subdivision splits, specifically precincts. Next is a description of each district. First, District 1. District 1's core area is Delta. It is a northern-based district that is shown in green. The neighborhoods include Delta, Bayside in part, Northwest Everett, Port Gardner in part, and Riverside in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Delta. 2 neighborhoods, Delta and Northwest Everett, are wholly contained. A small portion of Riverside is not contained within the district, and the Port Gardner section includes one precinct, Precinct 17, that splits Riverside and Port Gardner. Bayside is split without Precinct 18 contained within the district. The district includes a diverse population of Delta that has a third of the persons speaking another language and over 42% minority in the neighborhood, and that's 2020 estimates. The district is also characterized by containing the city's colleges and older housing structures, and that's excluding the Delta neighborhood, which has a greater percentage of rental units. District 1 has the lowest estimated population growth from 2010 to 2020 out of all of the districts, and that's at 6.85%. District 1's configuration started with determining whether Delta and Northwest Everett should exist in the same district. Delta and Northwest Everett was combined after analysis showed a relatively small turnout difference between combining Delta with a Northwest Everett district configuration and a Delta district that adjoins areas to the south of Delta. The next decision was to split mostly Bayside or Riverside. Bayside was split along Precinct 18, which allowed for most of downtown to be included in District 2. Also, Precinct 18 was a good demarcation point since it appears to match socioeconomically with the Northwest precincts in Port Gardner. Precinct 17 was added to contain most of Riverside. Only a small portion of Riverside was left in District 2 with zero population, and Precinct 17 also splits Port Gardner with 7 persons left contained within District 1. The area contained within the red circle includes the area Riverside that is not within District 1. It contains zero population, and of course that is using 2010 population data. The green circle includes the area in Port Gardner within Precinct 17 that contains 7 persons, and that does exist in District 1. District 2's core area is Lowell. The district encompasses the central eastern portion of the city to the northwestern side of the city, and is shown in pink. The neighborhoods include Bayside and Park, Glacier View, Lowell, Pinehurst, Beverly Park in part, Port Gardner in part, SouthForest Park in part, and Valley View. The largest populated neighborhood is Port Gardner. 3 neighborhoods, Glacier View, Lowell, and Valley View, are wholly contained. The district neighborhoods also include very similar median housing age that centers around the mid-1960s era. The district has the second highest estimated population growth of the districts from 2010 to 2020, and that's at 12.74%, and has the largest amount of businesses at 1,607, and that's using Esri's 2020 enrichment data estimation system. District 2's configuration began with establishing Lowell as the core area and connecting the area to the downtown region directly below District 1. As mentioned before, Bayside was split along Precinct 18, which allows for most of downtown to be included in District 2. And it appears that Precinct 18 matches socioeconomically with the Northwest precincts in Port Gardner. Precinct 17 was not included in District 2 in order to contain most of Riverside in District 1. Only a small portion of Riverside was left in District 2. Since Precinct 17 also splits Port Gardner, once again, 7 persons in Port Gardner were left within District 1. Next, there was a determination of whether to include SouthForest Park within District 2 or District 3. Reviewing socioeconomic neighborhood commonalities, SouthForest Park could fit well with either District 2 or District 3. However, in order for District 3 to exist within the acceptable population deviation, Evergreen and SouthForest Park could not both be wholly contained within District 3. Thus, most of SouthForest Park was placed in District 2. Only a small segment of SouthForest Park is excluded from the district due to Precinct 33, splitting the neighborhoods of View Ridge, Madison, and SouthForest Park. The map shown here with the red circle includes Precinct 18 that has been split from Bayside and included in the northern neck of District 2. Next, District 3, whose core area includes Boulevard Bluffs, Harborview, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison. The district encompasses a portion of the western and coastal areas of the city and is displayed in purple. The district contains the neighborhoods of Boulevard Bluffs, Evergreen, Harborview, Seahurst, Glen Haven, SouthForest Park, and View Ridge, Madison. The largest populated neighborhood is View Ridge, Madison. 4 of the neighborhoods, Boulevard Bluffs, Evergreen, Harborview, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison, are wholly contained. SouthForest Park is split to include a small portion, only 341 persons, within the district, and that's within Precinct 33. District 3 is characterized by its coastal western boundaries as well as moderately newer housing structures with a median year of 1978 and the highest median household income at $82,492 of all the districts. The district also has the second lowest population growth from 2010 to 2020 at 7.34%. District 3's configuration began with wholly containing the district's core of Boulevard Bluffs, Harborview, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison neighborhoods. Once it was determined that most of SouthForest Park should exist inside District 2, Evergreen could remain wholly contained within District 3. A small portion of SouthForest Park would exist in District 3 due to Precinct 33 splitting the neighborhoods of SouthForest Park and View Ridge, Madison. Also, the industrial areas around Boeing could remain mostly intact above the Boeing Freeway and included in District 3. The map displays the area within District 3 that includes SouthForest Park. This is a small portion of Precinct 33 that is split by View Ridge, Madison, and SouthForest Park and contains 341 persons. District 4's core area includes Casino Road, that's within Westmont. The district encompasses the southwestern portion of the city, and that's shown in blue. The district contains the neighborhoods of Cascade View in part, Holly, Twin Creeks in part, and Westmont in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Westmont. One neighborhood, Holly, is wholly contained. Westmont is almost wholly contained. It does not contain one census block, which has only 5 persons. The entire district exists below the Boeing Freeway. The district is characterized by its diverse population, with the highest percentage of the districts that speak another language in addition to English at 41.45%. The district also has newer housing structures, a median of 1988, and higher renter percentage at 69.15%. Using 2020 total population estimates, the district is the only majority-minority district in the city. District 4's configuration began with the core area of Casino Road. Since it was not conventional redistricting practice to follow only a road, the neighborhood of Westmont was a starting point for District 4. Only a single census block of Westmont remained not included in District 4, and it includes only 5 persons in 2010. This census block exists in Precinct 42, which splits Westmont and Cascade View. Since the neighborhood of Holly had similar socioeconomic and demographic attributes and is geographically intertwined with Westmont, it was logically added to District 4. Precinct 47 and 95 were added to wholly contain Holly within District 4. The precincts also were close to matching District 4 socioeconomic characteristics. However, the 2 precincts also split Cascade View and Twin Creeks. Precinct 84 finally was added to bring District 4 within acceptable population deviation, and it improves the compactness of the district. The red circle on the map highlights the census block that is split by Cascade View and Westmont, and thus is not included in District 4. As mentioned before, this only contained 5 persons in 2010. District 5's core area is Silver Lake. The district encompasses the southeastern portion of the city, and that's shown in green. The neighborhoods within the district include Cascade View in part, Pinehurst, Beverly Park in part, Silver Lake, Twin Creeks in part, and Westmont in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Silver Lake. One of the neighborhoods, Silver Lake, is wholly contained. The district is characterized by a mixture of diverse population. It is the second highest of the districts. Newer housing structures, median is 1986. Moderately higher median household incomes, 68,155, and relatively high percentage that speaks another language in addition to English at 31.44%. District 5's configuration began with the core area of Silver Lake. District 5 added to Silver Lake the nearby neighborhood areas of Twin Creeks and Cascade View to the district. Now, this was compelled due to being landlocked and not encroaching into District 4. After adding areas of Twin Creeks and Cascade View, population was needed for the district to reach an acceptable deviation. It was decided to not cross over Evergreen Way to add population from Evergreen, and it would also split the neighborhood. Instead, areas of Pinehurst, Beverly Park were added in order to bring District 5 population deviation within the acceptable standard. Precincts 34, 37, and 39 were included into District 5. These precincts have socioeconomic attributes that are reasonably close to District 5 and thus were added to complete the district. The map depicts the northern end of District 5, which focuses on the 3 precincts in Pinehurst, Beverly Park that were added to the district. Precinct 34, 37, and 39 were selected instead of crossing Evergreen Way and splitting the neighborhood of Evergreen. And that is a complete and concise description of the background, plan development, and the proposed final draft plan A8. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Well, if I could have the commissioners turn their cameras back on, we'll jump over to our next thing, which is I'm going to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Mary Foss.
Okay. Hi. My name is Mary Foss. I'm a Everett Essentials graduate and a small business owner. I live in the Delta neighborhood. I've been here for over 14 years now. I'm chair of the Delta Neighborhood Association, and I serve on the Council of Neighborhoods as well as Everett Public Schools Fiscal Advisory Council. I do a variety of volunteering around the community. I'm a huge fan of Everett, and that's one of the main reasons I volunteered for this commission. I wanted to be a part of creating a more equitable system of voting and better representation on the city council. And I wanted to avoid disenfranchising any residents. And I'm really looking forward to all of the public feedback that we get to make sure the community thinks we've done that on the commission. And I also wanted to add a huge thank you to everyone that's come forward to provide comment, because I know that's difficult to put yourself out there, but it is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Mary. And so I'm going to turn over to our Vice Chair, Chris Garay.
Hi, Chris Garay here. I'm a South Ender. Lived in the Silver Lake neighborhood now for just over 5 years, and really didn't spend a lot of time in Everett prior to that, but we quickly felt at home here and really wanted to get involved with the community. So started with Block Watch and our neighborhood association, been involved with the Council of Neighborhoods as well, and really thought this would be a great opportunity to learn more about the city, to get involved with an important new aspect of our government. And so I've been learning a lot, and I've really enjoyed the process and this team here, and think we have a great plan. So look forward to more feedback and considering that with our follow-up meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And then Jim Langas?
Thank you. I'm Jim Langas. I'm from the SouthForest Park neighborhood. I was born and resided in Everett for most of my life. I've always had a genuine interest in the city and Everett's future. I consider being on the districting committee as public service. I also served on the Charter Review Committee in 2016. The districting committee has been very attentive. They have taken their responsibility very seriously. They've been very, very diligent and committed to this process. I graduated from Everett High School a long time ago, and I've always been an advocate for the Everett School District, and I'm clearly a fan of my alma mater, and I try and support Everett High School when I'm able. I also appreciate all of the community's interest and participation. I think it's good to have folks come out and let us know how they feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Ethel McNeil?
Yes, I'm Elka McNeil. I lived here in Everett since 1969. I worked for Scott Paper Company for quite a while. I was a consumers rep for Scott Paper and a lab supervisor for Scott Paper in the CR lab. I worked for the Edmond School District. I was involved with Everett School District. I was on the boundary changes for the 2019-20 school year for the Everett School District, and I'm still involved in Everett School District on a lot of committees there. I also was a part on the Envision of Everett for 2037. I was on that commission as well for the city of Everett. I worked on the count neighborhoods for the city of Everett. I'm still involved in the city of Everett. I'm a part of the SMART team for the city of Everett. And I was up to the Everett City Council when Mayor Franklin became the mayor of the city of Everett. I've done a lot of areas, like I said before, coached soccer for many, many years. And I'm dedicated to the Everett School District. I want that school district to be successful, and I work very hard to do that. I also am dedicated to the city of Everett. I want the city of Everett to be a city that's welcoming to everyone. And I want everybody to be involved and everybody to be considered valuable to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethel. John Monroe?
I'm John Monroe. I'm a resident of the Port Gardner neighborhood. I've lived in Everett for the last 63 years. We moved to Everett many, many years ago from Walla Walla. Like Jim, I'm also a product of a graduate of Everett High School, go Seagulls. And before that, grade school and junior high school at South Junior. I spent my entire career at the Boeing Company. I retired there as an executive on the 777 program. One of the things that I've certainly noticed in the last 63 years in Everett is how the diversification has changed the structure of the city. And one of the things that I really value, and I think I picked up that value from working at Boeing. That value is not only recognizing the diversification, but also appreciating how that diversification is integrated into the city or into the company. To me, that's very important. You can have a diversified city, if you would, but the diversity can be very isolated. And I think that's sometimes not a good thing. I'm looking forward to the contributions and comments from our guests, just like the rest of our team. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Karikwas?
Hi, everybody. I'm Karikwas. I love how each time we do this, I hear new things about the commissioners. But essentially, I too, I was born in Everett and I returned about 7 years ago. I've probably lived in Everett about 30 years. I am currently chair of Northwest Neighborhood. I work in conservation. I do photography. Gosh, yeah, go Seagulls, but also go Cougs. That I haven't said before. I also like cats and I like gardening. And I, as I've said on a previous call, this weather right now is pretty disturbing with the smoke. And I'm hoping for rain again to come in. I'm glad these meetings are virtual so that we can all be together. And I really appreciate the numbers who have already come so far to speak. And then also that we have a lot today. So looking forward to those comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Kari. Julius Wilson?
Hi, I'm Julius Wilson. I live in Westmont. I live in Westmont. I live out here for about a little over 3 years, and I'm looking forward to hearing from the public about our map. That's all. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you, Julius. Ben Young?
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Young. I am in the Valley View neighborhood. I'm a 12-year resident of Everett. I retired from Snohomish County Government IT Group. My retirement lasted almost 30 days. I am now the Director of Grants and Marketing for the Communities of Color Coalition. I presently serve on a number of boards and commissions, most notable the Everett Housing Authority Board, the Snohomish County Technical Advisory Board or Commission, and I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP. My interest in this work, and as well as being a lifetime worker or for the social justice movement, and my interest for this commission is to ensure that there was a fair and equitable opportunity or process, and that the opportunity remains in this process, because I wanted to make sure that all people within the city of Everett not only will be well represented, but after this process is over, they will have an opportunity. I believe that we've done a great job thus far, and the data, as well as the neighborhood makeup, will bear witness to that.
Over to Tony to briefly introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Tony Fairfax. I'm a demographic and mapping consultant. I have a company, Census Channel. It's hard for me to believe that next year will be 30 years that I would have been involved in redistricting. And so I have enjoyed this process thus far. I think I'm biased, but the commission, I think, has done a great job. And I look forward to your questions and comments.
Thank you, Tony. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Nicole to let us know who we will be hearing from first.
Thank you, Simone. So just a quick reminder is that all of the community members get 3 minutes to provide comment. Please unmute your computer when you're called on, or if you're calling in from a landline or cell phone, you'll have to press *6 to provide comment. So first off, and our intern, Esther, you'll hear her give you the 30-second mark. So when you reach 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll hear a cue that says 30 seconds. So that will be your warning. We're going to kick off today with Adam Lemieux. If you're ready, please unmute, and your time will start when you do.
I have no comment.
Thank you, Adam. Then we'll move down to Tom Norcott.
Hi, hello, and thank you for the first thing I'd like to do is thank you for your time and effort that you put into this. I was with Jim on the Charter Commission also, and we spent a lot of time talking about districts at the Charter Commission meetings. And so it's kind of very nice to see this, the conversations come to fruition. I have been watching a lot of the meetings that you've had on television. And so I've seen a lot of lively conversations, and I thought they were healthy and productive. I don't have a strong opinion about our district, to be honest with you. The question would be is, which election are we going to be voting by districts? That's a question.
Nicole, do you have that information available? It's phased, so.
Yeah, so kind of how it works is the city council will propose those positions. So we have all of our Council President Tui and Council Member Stonecipher will both take the at-large positions, and then the rest of the City Council members have been assigned based on their number on the council. They'll represent a district. And then coming up this next summer cycle, you'll have to live in the district to run. So this 2021 ballot will be the first time that we have our district representatives. And then in 2022, we'll be looking at the population data to adjust those districts ever so slightly to ensure the deviation is still within the allowed amount.
So the first election that we vote in will be next year in November. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks again for your volunteer and your volunteerism and your service. And you know, I love the city of Everett, and I think this is going to make it a better place to live. And so that's enough out of me. Thank you.
Well, Nicole.
Thank you, Tom.
Nicole, excuse me, that the first election could be the primary.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
Okay.
The first ballot would be the primary, and then the general would be November. That's correct. Thank you, Jim.
Good question.
Okay.
Tom, could you please state your address for the record?
Yes, I live at 1402 Madrona Avenue in Everett, Washington. I'm also the chairman for the Harborview Seahurst Glenhaven Neighborhood Association, and I've served on the Transportation Advisory Committee and on the board of directors for the Recreation Parks of the city and the Snohomish County Planning Commissioner, and also on the board of directors for the Milltown Credit Union. And that's how I spend my retirement life. So, I'm also an environmentalist too, and belong to E350. And that's it. You don't need any more of my resume.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Tim Knopf, if you're on the line.
Well, thank you. I hadn't planned to speak, but I'd like to say that I certainly appreciate the effort and the diligent way that the commission has gone about making these districts. The proof that it is going to balance power a little more appropriately is that being in the Northwest neighborhood, we're going to be letting some power slip through our fingers, which is okay because we need to share. And it's been fascinating to watch this, and I really appreciate the information that you all have provided. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Next, we have Lyndon Kimbrough. Lyndon, if you're on the line, if you're calling in. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Hi. No, I really don't have any comment right now. I'm just wanting to listen. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And Diane, I'm going to just make sure that you wanted to observe today and not provide comment. I'm going to take that as a yes. And then next up, we have Typha, if you're ready to provide comment.
Hi, I don't have a comment, but I have a question. And I'd like to add to the thanks for all of the work that the committee has done. You've obviously put a lot of effort and thought into this and your volunteer time, and it's very much appreciated. I think my question is for Anthony Fairfax. I noticed that you mentioned several times that you really strove to maintain socioeconomic continuity within the districts. And I guess my question is, it's interesting because, for example, in low-income housing, the whole low-income housing industry, the push has really been toward not having, for example, low-income groups or other groups separated from the main population in low-income housing, and really kind of having more integrated housing projects or integrating housing, low-income housing in different neighborhoods. And so my question is isn't there a kind of an analog here in terms of districting where you might want to have mixed income neighborhoods, or is the idea, and I'm kind of wondering, is there research on this, or is the research I guess particularly in Everett, I think because in Everett you don't have districts that have like one ethnic group other than the majority ethnic group that is a majority district for that particular ethnic group, which I think is what you need in order to have the research, I guess, has shown is really important in terms of having representation. So I'm just curious about this issue of, what's really critical and what does the research show, if anything?
There are two different ways of looking at it. First, looking at commonalities and socioeconomic aspects is just one of the criteria. So you consider that, but it's not necessarily the dominant criteria. Then there's two things. Second thing is that you can look at it from the benefit of, say, a underserved community. If you try to mix potentially an underserved community in an area that is, or intentionally mix it, and an area that is dominated by not an underserved community, would their voices be heard? And so their voices would be heard probably better if you could actually combine them as a community of interest. And so you almost have somewhat diametrically opposed of what you're talking about, which is not the political aspect, but more of, I guess, the lifestyle aspect of how do you actually get individuals or individual neighborhoods to coalesce inside the same areas. That's different than the political power that, let's say, an area would have, meaning that you can see how, as I just said, that if you had an underserved community and you merged it into a district that is smaller, they may never elect a candidate of choice. And so you're going through this balance of what you're talking about, in addition to all of those other criteria that we looked at, which is, equal population contiguity, compactness, political subdivision splits, you're ensuring that you're not using race or partisan data. And so I hear what you're saying, but there are two sides to that, if you can see where I'm coming from.
It's interesting because I know the Delta neighborhood in particular, there are some who are really worried about being subsumed within the Northwest neighborhood. Right. And so is that going to, it seems like it could have a number of different effects that could kind of exclude candidates from that neighborhood potentially, because people in Northwest are more likely to raise money and be a part of the political elite. On the other hand, there may be knock-on effects from being part of Northwest and being,
right. Right. And the situation with Delta, if you look at that, it's somewhat like an island there, almost to a certain extent by itself. No matter which way it goes, it's going to be merged or integrated with an area that has probably higher turnout, let's say. And so that's one of those unique situations. If it was a situation where it dramatically changed, and let's say we could focus on the minority community there, and we could show that they had been, their voting strength could be diluted, then there could be a compelling reason to actually separate them in a manner that I think you're talking about. But that
we have about 15 more seconds there, Tony.
Okay, but that's not the case. Not that there's not some change, but it's not a significant difference. Anywhere you go, whether you actually merge it in this combined district or you go down south, essentially Delta is going to have to fight, and it's going to have to actually do voter registration, GOTV. But I think overall, just my point of view, it's beneficial for them to be in that combined district. I think they stand a better chance of being represented in that versus the elongated district that as an alternative over a period of time.
Next up, we have Angela. I just only got a first name, so I know there was an Angela who provided comment a couple meetings ago, but Angela, if you're on the line and you haven't provided comment, would you like to? Janice Green, if you're on the line and you'd like to provide comment.
Yeah, I do. I'm really it's impressed with what you've done here. So I think I live in the Northwest District, but I also think that combining it with Delta is great. If I understood correctly, when he was going over the statistics, Delta has a larger population than the Northwest. Did I get that? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, that is correct. Now, voting wise, it's under, but Delta or the east side, let's say, is growing faster than the west side. And so it's just a matter of time before the voting catches up.
So there's real opportunities for outreach, voter registering, and getting people out to vote. But once all that happens, and Delta neighborhood has more folks able to vote and contribute than the Northwest. So I think it'll balance out. Thank you for all the work you all have done.
Thank you, Janice.
Next up, we have Pamela Haynes. If you're on the line and you'd like to provide comment.
Thank you. I also would say thank you to the committee. That's a difficult job as a volunteer to commit that much time. But I would have a question as to, on the committee, did you look just at facts, data, census information, socioeconomic information, or did you walk the neighborhood? Did you drive the neighborhood? I mean, I know my neighborhood, and I know neighborhoods to the south of me, and I know neighborhoods to the west of me. I don't know all of the neighborhoods in Everett. And if I'm trying to decide who's going to be best represented, I would think that looking at who lives in those neighborhoods on the ground, how much turnover is there, how many rentals are there, I think the flavor and character of a neighborhood is difficult to read in statistics without actually going out into the neighborhoods and seeing who's living there. And because I walk from my Delta neighborhood across to the park on Grand Avenue, I know that the homes in my neighborhood, the families in my neighborhood, while there may be more of them, it's because our lots are smaller, because we have a lot more housing developments, apartment buildings, low-income seniors. The neighborhoods south of me that I walk through as well, Riverside, I see more homes that look like mine, more small lots that look like mine. And I just wonder if the work was all done with statistics, or if you took field trips and you went out and you looked at the actual neighborhoods.
Before we answer that, Pamela, could we get your address for the record, please?
2815 17th Street.
Thank you so much.
So Pamela, this is Simone. I don't know if you're on the video. We did do a lot of work with data, but we did a lot also with data that was more into the socioeconomic. So we did get a feel for areas that had more renters, and we looked into kind of Tony had some really interesting data that he gave us that kind of gave you a little bit of a profile of each neighborhood with like these little titles of kind of who lived there, what kind of people live there. And we did a lot of discussions that were just based on all of our experiences as Everett residents. And I think one of the things I think is really cool about this commission is that we have such a broad range of ages, experiences, and everything that we really did have a lot of personal experience to draw from, being as that there's only 9 of us and there's more neighborhoods than that in Everett. You know, we didn't have an expert for every single neighborhood involved, but I know I really tried to really tap into the knowledge that I had of all my time living here. I mean, I've been to every neighborhood. I've, ridden my bike all over the place. So I know we leaned a lot on that. Tony, do you want to talk about that data that you shared with us that had the different?
Simone, sorry, but we also had commissioners during various meetings say that they had gone out and actually driven some of those precincts and driven the lines. I know John mentioned that, I believe, in July, that he actually went spent a day driving those different areas, and other commissioners had also said that as well. So the answer to that is yes, the commissioners did do their due diligence to go out and explore each of those districts.
Yeah, this is John. I actually did that in late July, early August. I drove every single boundary, and it was part of the reason why I did it was, we can look at facts and data, but you can also get a little different feel of whether you're on the right path by going out and actually looking and seeing, do you have all the right stuff in each of the neighborhoods, and are they well balanced? And do you have a great diversity, or do they all look alike? So I felt comfortable with the work that we had done, but then after I actually took the day, and believe me, it took almost a complete day to drive that every single route for every single district. But it just reinforced to me that I thought that we had done the right thing.
Thank you, John.
Just briefly, do you mind if I interject too, Simone?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure the commenter was, it wasn't clear to me if you were aware that Riverside is also part of that first district, along with Delta and Northwest and half of Bayside and part of Port Gardner. So I just wanted to make sure the commenter was aware that that also includes Riverside. It's not just Delta and Northwest together. We have several neighborhoods grouped together in order to get enough population to be in a district. That was all.
Thank you,
Flora. Thank you, Flora. Oh, Tony, do you want to briefly talk about that data?
Sure, I quickly talk about it. We looked at data at two different levels. First, the neighborhood, and then we went down to the precinct. And so we looked at it at sort of a macro view, then down to the precinct. And we looked at, we wanted to make sure that we covered at least the communities of interest in that survey. And so, neighborhoods was one, but they also listed income and also listed language and also listed housing structures. And so we made sure that we looked at attributes associated with that. And so we used census data. I won't get into the weeds, but use census data and what's called enriched data by Esri. And then they have something called lifestyle data, as one of the commissioners were saying, where you get an idea of sort of the typical entity that's inside each of these areas, what type of lifestyle that they actually live. And so we did look at, I think, a sufficient amount of data, and I'm glad that the commissioners took time to actually go out and actually look at some of these areas.
Thank you, Tony.
Next, we have 876-4441. If you're on the line, haven't provided public comment, please state your name and address for the record, and we're ready when you are. You have to press *6 to enter the meeting, and then probably unmute your phone if you've muted on your end.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, my name is Patty. I live in the Blue Ridge, I think the Blue Ridge district. I looked at the map and I couldn't tell. I live on Highland Road, but it's up in that area. And I was just curious. I wanted to listen. I didn't really have a comment. I've lived here all my life, and this is quite a change for us. So I just wanted to hear what was going on. That's all.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Okay,
next up,
I'll probably listen again on Thursday.
Oh, thank you so much.
And if you want to, you can always email in comment too. If you're not ready to give comment over the phone, we're happy to get the email comments as well.
And that's to N Weber, WEBBER at everettwa.gov, and it's on the website. Next up, we have Barbara Eklund. If you're on the line and like to provide comment. I thought I saw you on here, Barbara. We can come back to you. Megan Robinson, if you're on the line and would like to provide comment, please state your name and address for the record. We also have an unknown user on the call. If you're here to provide comment, we're ready to hear from you as well. If we have anyone on the call that would like to provide comment that hasn't already, we will open the floor for non-RSVP people that were able to join us. Maybe since it's 3:58, we'll give people until 4 o'clock, Simone, and then we can wrap up this portion of the public comment.
Sounds good.
Do I need to bring my baby out again?
I can pull up a cat.
I will provide just a quick update that I got from Typha that we were having some streaming issues. And so this particular comment didn't go live the full time on Facebook and YouTube, but we did capture the full video, so it will be posted. But there was just some bandwidth streaming issues that we could not beat today. Try as she might. She got frozen out. So it will be posted, anyone listening or watching from home. So you can look for that. And of course, it will be on the website. And if anyone is interested in looking at the public comment we've received so far, it's on the website. We have, it's listed out by date, and then also there's a link that is written comment. And so you can read through all of the comments the commissioners have received in writing and also given here verbally. Is there any more updates you'd like to provide or for me to provide, Simone?
I think that's about it. Our next meeting will be tonight at 6, and then our last meeting will be Thursday at 5. And that will be it would be our at-large meeting, but technically all of these have been at large. So that's about it, I'd say. I think otherwise, I guess we shall adjourn, and we will be back on for 6 o'clock for our 5th community meeting. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Everyone.